Imagine walking into a brand new school where every eye turns toward you, not with kindness, but with judgment. You're carrying your tray, heart pounding, searching for a place to sit. Then it happens. Laughter, cruel, sharp, echoing through the cafeteria. That's exactly what happened to a girl named Lily. 3 boys made her the target of their jokes, and the whole room seemed to join in. But what no one knew was that Lily carried something inside her, something powerful, something unforgettable. By the end of this story, you'll see why no one who laughed at her that day would ever forget her again. Lily Harper had always been shy, the kind of girl who preferred sketching in her notebook to raising her hand in class. When her father's job forced the family to move to a new town, she dreaded starting fresh at Ridgewood High. She told herself she'd blend in, stay quiet, and maybe make 1 or 2 friends if she was lucky. The cafeteria was her greatest fear. It was loud, crowded, and filled with groups that already knew where they belonged. That first Monday, she stepped inside with her tray, chicken nuggets, mashed potatoes, and a carton of milk, and tried to appear invisible. But invisibility was impossible when 3 boys spotted her. Connor, the ringleader, leaned back in his chair, smirking. His friends, Jake and Mason, followed his gaze. Lily's mismatched sweater, worn jeans, and nervous shuffle were enough for them. "Hey, new girl," Connor called, his voice dripping with mockery. "Did you raid your grandma's closet this morning?" The laughter was instant. Jake clutched his stomach, Mason slapped the table, and a few other kids nearby joined in, happy not to be the target themselves. Lily froze. Her hands shook as she tried to steady the tray. Heat crept up her neck, and she felt the sting of tears threatening to spill. She didn't know where to go. Every table seemed full of eyes, waiting to see what she'd do. "Careful," Jake added with a sneer. "She looks like she might cry. Don't get your tears in the mashed potatoes, new girl." The cafeteria erupted again. Lily lowered her head and hurried to the farthest corner table, one that was empty and near the trash bins. She sat down, staring at her food, unable to eat. Each burst of laughter in the room felt like it was aimed at her, even if it wasn't. That night at home, she said nothing about what happened. Her parents asked how her first day was, and she forced a smile. It was fine. Inside, though, she felt smaller than ever. The next day it happened again. Different jokes, same cruel laughter. They mocked her lunch, her quietness, the way she wore her hair. Lily began dreading lunchtime, carrying her tray like a shield, sitting alone. But Lily had a secret. What the boys didn't know was that she had spent years training in music. Her voice, strong and soulful, was her refuge. Back in her old town, she had sung in her school choir, even competed in local competitions. Singing wasn't just a hobby, it was her way of surviving, of expressing the feelings she couldn't say out loud. One afternoon, as Lily sat alone in the cafeteria, she overheard a flyer being read aloud. "Talent show Friday night, sign-ups open in the main office." The cafeteria buzzed with excitement. Connor and his friends bragged about how they were going to perform a comedy skit. "We'll have the whole school rolling," Mason said. "No one will top us." Something inside Lily stirred. A flicker of courage she hadn't felt in weeks. Could she? The thought terrified her, but it also gave her hope. What if she stood on that stage and showed everyone a side of herself they'd never expect? What if she proved she wasn't just the quiet girl they laughed at? That night, Lily stood in front of her bedroom mirror, clutching her hairbrush like a microphone. Her voice filled the room, trembling at first but growing stronger with every note. For the first time since arriving at Ridgewood, she smiled. Maybe, just maybe, Friday would be different. The night of the talent show arrived. The auditorium buzzed with energy. Parents, teachers, and students filling every seat. On stage, Connor and his friends delivered their comedy routine. The crowd laughed loudly, though mostly out of habit rather than genuine amusement. Connor bowed dramatically, convinced they had sealed the win. Then came the announcement. "Next up, Lily Harper." A murmur spread across the room. "The new girl." Someone whispered. "Wait, she signed up." Even Connor looked surprised, then smirked. "This is gonna be good." Lily stepped onto the stage, clutching the microphone with trembling hands. Her heart raced. The stage lights blinded her, but she could feel hundreds of eyes on her. She remembered that first day in the cafeteria, the laughter that made her want to disappear. She closed her eyes, drew in a breath, and began to sing. Her voice was soft at first, almost fragile, but with each word it grew, soaring through the auditorium with power and emotion that silenced the crowd. The notes carried her pain, her hope, her resilience. Every lyric was a piece of her heart, laid bare for all to see. The same boys who had laughed at her days before sat frozen, their smirks erased. Connor shifted uncomfortably in his seat. For the first time, he wasn't in control. By the time Lily reached the final note, the auditorium erupted, not in laughter but in thunderous applause. People rose to their feet, clapping, cheering, whistling. Some even wiped tears from their eyes. Lily stood there overwhelmed. For the first time since coming to Ridgewood, she felt seen, not for what she wore or how quiet she was, but for who she truly was. The next day in the cafeteria, things were different. Students who once ignored her now stopped to say how amazing she was. "You have the voice of an angel," one girl said. "I can't believe we didn't know sooner." Even Connor and his friends stayed quiet, their usual jeers replaced with awkward silence. When Lily walked by, Connor muttered under his breath, "Good job, I guess." It wasn't an apology, but it was the closest he had ever come. Lily didn't need their approval anymore. She had found her strength, and it was louder than any laugh. From that day on, she never sat alone again. She joined the school choir, made friends who admired her for her talent and kindness, and most importantly, she proved to herself that she was more than their ridicule. And that's the lesson in Lily's story. The world may laugh, people may judge, but hidden within every quiet soul is a strength that can silence even the loudest voices of doubt. Sometimes all it takes is courage to step onto your own stage. If Lily's courage inspired you, remember this: your voice, your talent, your strength matters. Never let anyone's laughter define who you are. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs a reminder to believe in themselves.